Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm happy to report I've got all my parts ready and bearings are in and we're ready to final assembly. Before I get too far, I did want to swing over here and show you I'm taking care of my variator. So all I did was pull all the weights out and put them on a piece of brass rod and spray them down with some dry molly. And then same thing for the inner surfaces there, and then on the opposing face as well. So, all right, that kind of sets the stage. That goes in first, then the rest will kind of fall into place. So let me get you guys set up. All right, so hopefully you guys can see okay there. Now, I'm taking the liberty of roughly assembling the variator just to show you. Drop the weights in and then the 3 guides go against these lands, and then this shaft is what everything moves with, and it's pretty slick actually. The weights will excuse my clearing of the throat. The weights are what really take care of everything. But anyway, so like I said, this is what's first, and slip that in there, get that into place. The reason for that is you have to include the belt with the clutch. So what I'm going to do is wipe this down one last time. Because this shaft here has the needle bearing rolling on it. Grab a little grease, get that lubed. Not too much, since this is going to get pushed back in by the seal. Just enough to make her slippery. All right. So now, being careful, squeezing it like a hamburger and not touching the media or the insides of the pulley faces. I've already cleaned those up. We'll go ahead and try and guide this baby in. Without making too much of a mess. Get in there. All right. So, I forgot the belt. Let's try this again. One other thing, you want to make sure you can read the belt. You don't want to stick it in there backwards. Both of the buggies that I've opened up, it's been that way, so I'm sure that's standard. All right, get in there. Oh, and make sure it goes over the shaft too. That's why we put the variator on first. There. Bingo. Now we got her. All right, let's clean this up. Well, it's going to be super important to get all that extra grease out of there, because you don't want it to come out and fling up on the shoes and get inside the hub there. So I'm wondering now if I haven't put too much grease in there. So get an acid brush. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna grab a Q-tip. Bet that'll clean that up real nice. There we go. That's getting it. So the reason why I did that with all that grease in there is because it originally had some. It was a bit thicker than what I'd originally used, or what you see here. So it's like a paste almost that kind of lined the inside there to make sure the needle bearing continued to have grease. So once we get this cavity wiped clean, then the clutch drum will fit on these splines. There, all right, so now take the drum face, or the drum itself, and that'll fit in there. And then that gets this copper bushing thing, and then finally this nut. All right, so now the other half of the variator will go on. It's this. Which that can be a booger to get it down all the way. Because the belt. you have to kind of squeeze the belt and give yourself a little extra room in order to shimmy this thing down farther so it seats all the way. Yeah, it's just going to spring back out. I imagine once we get the nut on and everything, we'll be good. So at this point, it's ready for the cover. Kind of. So I still need to reattach this. So let me take care of that quick, and I'll be right back. All right, you guys didn't miss much. All I did was finger tighten the bolts to secure the bearing carrier back in the cover here. So now what we're gonna do is tighten up that clutch first. And before I do, I'm gonna pull this back off. I wanna clean up that face really good, or the threads, I mean, really good, because I'm a big fan of the Loctite, especially in something buried in like this. So blue should be fine. It shouldn't be getting too hot. Not only that, but the direction of rotation should keep it tight too. A little brake cleaner does the body good. While I'm in here, go ahead and wipe this out. Oh boy. Das nasty. Looks a little better. Shiny. All right. There's that. Then one thing I wanted to point out is I also elected to replace the O-rings on this. This is what actually slips inside one of the two bearings that we've replaced in the side cover, the 6006s. Mine, this inner O-ring, originally had a big chunk missing from it. So it's a 26 millimeter inner diameter and a 2 millimeter circumference. So if you guys decide to replace yours, all right. So we'll go ahead and goop her up, give her the blue. Now, those of you playing along at home wondering, how tight do we make this thing? I have no idea. I contacted the manufacturer, asked them, hey, what's the torque values for all this stuff? And their answer was, we use an impact gun. So just Give her some ugga-duggas. Okay. So that's what I'm gonna do. Go ahead and use old Thorbert Jr. here, since he's handy. Make sure battery's good. Oh, we're set. All right. There. So, I have no idea what the torque is on this thing. It's a little brushless Makita 3/8 drive impact. Not a sponsor. WXT12. 1300. I don't know. I can't tell. Anyway, good enough for the girls I run with. So, that'll do. And now, I'm ready to slip that cover in. So for those of you who have disassembled or are going to disassemble, you will need to loosen the brake fitting, the lines here, and that should give you enough clearance to be able to move things around. One last thing I want to do before I get too wild is put a little grease on these O-rings, just to make it easier for it all to slip together once we get it all into place. All right, so this is the tough part. Trying to get everything maneuvered. Okay. So now check your gasket. Make sure you haven't boogered it up at all. Any of the surfaces. I don't think I did. You can see it's a little loose. I'll have to check on that. But just put it in through the guide pins. Make sure you get that ground wire out of the way. All right. And she's seated. So anyway, here's the replacement part. You can see how pretty it is and smooth and looks good. So we're gonna go ahead and slip that in just for alignment's sake. And now the boring job of sticking these bolts back in. Now, in my case, they were all the same length, except for this one. That only guy, that single guy right there, whatever, he goes right here. So right in towards the cylinder there, only on the top side. All the rest of them are all the same length. So go ahead and blast through this quick, get these all spun in. Only other thing of import is to be sure to put the ground wire back on this one as well. Okay, and there's one more we can get to from topside. That's this guy. All right, to the bottom side. Probably right in your way, sorry. They have a better way to do this. So that's 5. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So, while we're down here all cozy next to each other, I was surprised to find on disassembly that some of these had water in them. Some of the bolts, right? So the cavity that's got the unthreaded portion on the case side basically had filled up. But what was bizarre about it is, it was only the ones on the top side. It was only those 4 across the top that had water that would drip out. And that happened both times. I've taken this thing apart. So, I'm not sure what to make of that. If I need to put some kind of a sealing washer on these, or what, or maybe the lesson is just stay out of the water. That's kind of hard to do. Believe it or not, I was out yesterday and New River up at Table Mesa had a bunch of people in it because there was sufficient water to just about get your whole body in some of the deeper pools. Where you cross, it was about a foot or so deep. So, it was surprising to see it that high. All right. Alright, one more. I think you can see it. Yeah, you guys can see it. And this is standard procedure, just putting the blue good stuff on them and putting it in. Now, we get to tighten it all back up. So while we're here, figured I would start without moving. So 1/4 inch drive. You don't want to get too gorilla strong on them. Just tight. Just snuggish. There we go. Now these two. Snug. Just snug. Last one down here. just snug. All right, let's repeat on the top side. It's a little bit different angle. Hopefully the camera will stay. It's a janky kind of little baby tripod. There's that. Can't see this one, but it's the one with the ground wire. And last but not least, there. Okay. That should do it. So, next step is going to be to get that thing tightened up. Okay, so now what we got to do is get this bearing carrier tightened back up. So I've left everything loose, right? And I wanted this to be able to slip in. Now that we've got the cover tightened, we can go ahead and tighten these up. So what I'd like to do is just one by one, spin it back out, stick some blue goo on it, and then spin it back in. And then once we're ready, go ahead and tighten them down. But let me grab a wrench, make sure I have the right size. It's a 12, I thought so. Okay, so my boy Blue I'll just spin that back in. So the idea of doing it this way is to use the bearing carrier as my alignment. So that way I hopefully will avoid this issue in the future. Last time I'd had this cover off, I did not loosen up this bearing carrier. Everything went back together, right? It seemed fine. I didn't seem to need to mess with it, but maybe that was the mistake. Also, a word of advice for those of you disassembling. One mistake that I made, and hopefully I can help you to avoid in the future, is if you find yourself in this situation where this piece is stuck and it won't slide like that, don't use a bearing puller to pull against the case. That's how I had started with this. Because originally I'd put some blue Loctite on those threads and I thought it got underneath of it and had seized the piece onto the shaft that way. At this point I hadn't realized that the bearing had been completely eaten. And so you can see the beauty mark right there of where I was pulling against the case. I didn't get too crazy with it. I was like, okay, that's enough, because I could tell there was clearance to allow this piece to pull through the case. So that's what I ended up doing, was unbolting all of these to free up the bearing carrier. And then the whole cover came off, leaving this still on the shaft, basically. But at that point, it allowed it all to come free. I hadn't realized that it was still free on the splines, that all I had to do was pull the cover off. But that's fine. These had to come off still anyway in order to to give me that wiggle room, right? So I can move things around. But anyway, let me grab a wrench. Let's tighten these up. So I'm not getting too wild with it. Just snug. I'm tired. Late night. Okay. All right, that feels good. We did it right. Yay. That still slides in and out. Okay, so I'd call that aligned well enough. And I think we're good enough to put this washer back on. And then the nut. All right, Thorbert, where are you? That's why I name my tools, so I can yell at them when I can't find them. Which, by the way, the clutch side nut was a 19 millimeter. Same is true for the drive shaft. Okay. So, true to form, I'm gonna go ahead and put some blue goo on. All right, so that's got the belt squeezed in there nicely now. And honestly, I should be okay to try to start this thing. You guys want to try it? See if it spins true, or if it's still ugly and crappy. Place your bets. Hey, before we get too hog wild, let's make sure this thing rotates. So far, so good. All right. It's a funny noise going that direction. Anyway, well, at least the belt's moving. So let me get the battery attached. Come with me. All right, here we go. So just have the wires dangling down from below. Normally the battery goes right under the driver's seat. So should be okay to just connect the original leads as they had been. That guy's like crusty. Have to clean that up. These captain nuts and batteries are always so difficult. Try moving you. Come on. What is the problem here? It's kind of in there. There, it's got it. Woo! That was more of a pain than it was supposed to be. Now, do we have lights? All right. We're almost ready for mayhem. All right, guys. It's the moment of truth. See what happens here. Looks good. I'm happy. That'll do. All right, at this point, I think we're ready to put the recoil starter back on. So, unfortunately, this one will only go one way, as you can see. They did make it wonky like that, but just a single dog pops out in order to get it going. So, but yeah, I was hopeful to try to turn it, and every which way I did, it just didn't work. So it would be nice to have it to use, but I just can't switch it around to make it happen. I'm not sure what this engine also is used on, that it would have a pull start exposed like this. So, but it's going to be one of those where make the bolts blue, stick them in. You know the drill. little too tight. Need a little more wiggle room. There we go. Yeah. Too good for your hole. So diddly. Come on. For real? I don't remember this being such an arm wrestle last time. There. My goodness, what a fight that was. Just this bottom bolt. All right. I bet the fourth one's going to be just as much fun. There. Holy cow. That was a pain in the tuchus. There we go. Okay, that's back in place. Perfect. Now, let's take care of the brakes. Okay, so in order to get clearance to get that cover in and out, I had to loosen up these brake lines, and it's time to stick them back. So these have these nylocks, which make them a little bit of a pain. Let's see, I think it was There. Not the best design. Can't say I'm much of a fan, but it'll do. So the tops are 8, the bottoms are 10, I believe. There's one. There's the other. All right. We're on the home stretch now. There. All right, so now let's put on the case snorkels. These are just held on with some screw clamps and a single 8mm bolt. I left the bolt in so I wouldn't lose it. Okay. There's the clamp. Now this. One of my favorite special sauce. Just a dab will do ya. Tighten this up. Check. All right, on to this side. It's the exact same thing. Except you drop your bolt. Oh, hey, it does have an 8. I wasn't sure about this kit. Got it from Harbor Freight and I haven't really used it a whole lot yet. Alright, where's my screwdriver? You guys can barely see. Let's fix that. There. There. Double check that with a screwdriver. That nut driver doesn't quite fit on there. It's too tight against the side. All right. Good. Next. All right, now the seat cross member, or the subframe or subassembly or whatever you want to call this thing, goes in. This also is where the seat belts attach. It just sits like so. And 2 bolts, that's all. Let's see what size they are. I think they're 12. No. Grab my blue stuff. Okay, here we go. Probably shouldn't tighten that all the way, huh? Make that a little easier on me to do the next one. There she be. Click. Click. All right. What's next? All right, back at it again. Let's put the bottom trim piece back in. First, get that settled. And this one you have to kind of shimmy in underneath either side here, and you also want to make sure that it lines up with the forward piece of trim as well. You can see here and at the other side. So right about like that seems good. We'll go with that. All right, and this one has 4 bolts and 3, I believe. Sorry, 4 bolts and 2 plastic clips. Yeah. So let's get those in there. There we go. Last one. Just snug-ish. Don't go wild. It's just holding 2 layers of plastic together. There we go. All right. And then here, it's also another set of these plastic clips that can go in now. There we go. You guys can see that, right? Sure. There we go. All right. Now, next is going to be this intake pipe. And this one, rather than battle it with the bolts on the inlet there, I'm just gonna tighten things up here on the tube. Make my life easier because it's so flexible, floppy. It seems a little bit low though. So we'll start there. This clamp, I'm gonna flip around. Give myself a little bit more room to maneuver. There we go. All right, so that just sets in like that. That should line up pretty well. Here, let me pull this back out and show you guys what I'm doing. Come on, little girl. Get out of there. There we go. So, the inlet on this side just has a clamp. I'm gonna go ahead and slip it together and then tighten it down. This one might be easier from the other side. Oh yeah, this is way easier. Almost got it. I'm gonna double check this other clamp quick. Make sure it's good and snug. Airlock side. There, perfect. All right, so this one now. we'll get 4 bolts on the top, a plastic clip over there, and a plastic clip on top. And then 3 longer bolts along the bottom. Let's go ahead and start with these top bolts here. Next, and of course, lost my wrench. There it is. There we go. Just a little snug. Something to hold it in place while that blue locks up, grabs hold. There we go. Lovely. One last clip up top. There we go. And then another clip on the side. Right here, it just joins these two by the passenger seat belt here. There we go. Now just 3 bolts on the bottom. It's starting to look like a real buggy again. For once. Okay. There we go.
grab hold. Play nice. It's been a long day. I'm tired. There we go. Get in there. Problems, this plastic piece isn't quite lining up. Well, that's what you get for fiddling with stuff. That bolt doesn't feel right. I think it's cross-threaded. So, make this easier on myself. I'm gonna dig out a nut driver. 5/16. 7mm. 9mm. Where did I have it? I know it is here somewhere. Might be my... Nope. And keep a couple nut drivers in my toolbox here, just in case. Yeah, just dump them all out. Make it more exciting. There's the 7 again. 10. 8. It's the red one, in case you're wondering. Yeah, this feels tight, that's all. I think it's okay. It could also be a symptom of it having Loctite from before. So, here we go. Why doesn't this one want to bite? Do. Okay. There she goes. This stuff is awful grumpy when you disturb it like this. Hard to fiddle back in. I'm sure none of it lined up very well to begin with. Off the press. But it's all right, it's close enough. Whew. Man, that was a beast. Holy cow. All right, I need a break. It's hot. I'm thirsty. Okay, before we get too much farther, I do want to take care of the seat belts and the the shift knob here. And then I was gonna head down below and get the battery wires fed back up above. So, but for now, let's go ahead and buckle these, or get these buckles in, I should say. And this one's a 14 millimeter. That's pretty good. All right. While I'm on this side, go ahead and take care of the gear shift. And that's this little pan head screw. There's that. Wander back over. Kick you guys over here. Get this seat belt. It's 9 o'clock. Almost time for bed. And it's a school night. That'll do. All right, so down below, we're gonna put the wires for the battery box up in. They feed up underneath that cross brace back into the battery box. I'll show you that when we get up top. But while we were down here, I figured I would also point out my winch mod. Let's see which one I want to start with. Go with you. But one by one, these just get kind of fed up in here. But this silver stud right here, that holds the relay for my winch modification. It's a Harbor Freight winch. It comes with a little remote control and a a receiver box that I wanted to be able to control the power for. And I found that back side of the battery box was about the most convenient place to put it. So that was where she landed. So the two main ignition wires, positive, negative. They have the light bar wired separate, positive, negative. And then the things that I had done to the winch, there's more positive and negative. So it takes a little bit to get this all put back. For the more astute of you, you might have noticed there was a red switch on the one panel that's there to support the relay. Lets me turn the winch on and off like a master switch, basically. All right. So that's got that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and seat the relay. This is its little control wire thing here. There we go. So, this being Merca, and me being Merkin, this is 1/4-20. The little screw I used, 1/2 inch long, because I had it. It was handy. Stainless steel nylock. And that's the only standard hardware on this that I can think of off the top of my head. All right, so that will take care of that. I'm going to grab a screwdriver and get this tightened up. It's good enough for finger tight for now. There's a better view of the relay. You can see it's just controlling the positive side, deciding whether or not to send power back to the control box. I'll cover this in better detail in another video. I have to install another winch on my red one still. So, but here's the mess of wires snaked up above. And then there's the other side of the screw that's holding this in. So you can see I've got the head ground down a little bit in order to keep it from rubbing against the side of the battery. So, but anyway, let me get you a better spot to sit and we'll be right back. All right, let's get the battery stuck back in. And before I get too far down the road, I want to put the control wires in for the switch too, before I forget. Push that out. Feed these up in. So I like this switch because it was lit or lighted. So that's why I've got the 3 leads here. I marked it for myself to keep me straight. That's power, that's the switch side, and that's ground, the copper, if anybody wants these. Got them on Amazon. And then I color coded. Red is hot, green is load, come back, green. Ugh. And then black is ground. So we'll just push those in. and slide that back into place. It's supposed to be a dust-proof and waterproof switch. So far, so good. Use it on my trailer, so if that's off, that should be on and illuminated. So there's that. Now, take the battery strap out of the way. And set the battery in. Oh, excuse me. Dinner's talking back at me. Grab a little piece of sandpaper, polish that up a little bit, and grab some dielectric grease too. Actually, here's a piece of Scotch-Brite, that'll do. But yeah, unfortunately, negative on that one seems to have gotten some corrosion on it. I don't know if that's my fault or what. I do beat on these things like little rented mules. They have not had an easy life. They're well maintained. I run AMSOIL in them, but as you can see, I do take the trouble to service it. And this one is out of warranty already. It's only a 6-month warranty, but not so hard to work on, as you can see. It's pretty easy. At least one guy out there is making a video on YouTube for how to work on them. So I really haven't looked to see if anybody else is, to be honest. That's my own fault. But hopefully you guys are finding this useful. These are all nasty. Just on the ground, too. Wonder if it's because of these mixed terminals or what, but it's always cleaning up. Good enough. Give these a little grease. Dielectric tune-up. Starting to separate a little bit, it seems. But it's just an oxygen barrier is really all you're looking for. That and the trails I ride, there is a river that gets crossed a couple times north of my home here in Anthem, Arizona. It doesn't get very deep. It's maybe foot and a half last time I crossed it, but I believe it's enough to get up here and make things wet. And then galvanic action or whatever it is takes over. Combined with, I imagine there's a little bit of vapor or something coming out of the battery, but this should hopefully keep it from happening anytime in the near future. Bigger the gob, better the job, right, boys? All right. That's negative. Of course, I start with the wrong one. If I'm going to do this right, really should hook up the positive first. But this here is the winch lead. You can see I've got a dedicated 30 amp circuit breaker on it, self resetting. So if I start pulling too hard,
I won't be stuck out in the middle of nowhere without a fuse. I just need to give it a break and it should resume. This is the hard part, getting these wires situated. Grease on you too. Okay. There we go. Now a little pro tip, something I just discovered. This is one of the batteries that has the captured nuts in it. So I had a problem where, because I have so many things stacked together, I couldn't get the screw down in far enough to get a hold of the nut, right? Because it was so far down. It really was expecting you to only put like one thing on at most, maybe two. But here I am jamming three in. Giggity. So anyway, the solution to this was a piece of Scotch-Brite. Just cut it out the same size as that little nut and stick it underneath of it. Catch the nut with the screw, hold it up, slide the Scotch-Brite underneath and let the nut back down. It's like a springy little bed that will allow the nut to go down into it, or excuse me, the bolt. And then no trouble with sorry, it'll hold the nut up, but then there's no problem with getting the bolt all the way in. It should also allow enough compression with it fully screwed in. There. Hopefully that made sense. I should shut up and do and not talk at the same time. I'm not very good at it. There. All right. Almost forgot my strap. Should be able to fish it in here. There. Voila. Now, if all goes according to plan and I didn't forget, this should light up. Hey, look at that. So that indicates the power has now been sent back to the winch. So, cool. I can hear the relay clicking in there. Let's move on. All right, we're getting close and running out of parts. We really only have the seats to put back in at this point. The driver's side gets some slides, and the passenger gets a static seat. Now, let's see. This one goes here. Oof, that's dirty. So you can see they just have some captured bolts. And they'll sit right there. I'll go down below and tighten these up. I'm sure you don't really care that much. But this one has a washer on it. You can see I got a little overzealous with
the cordless impact when it was new and fun and exciting to me. So I gave that one a little beauty mark. So let me get this tightened down. We started. Might even be able to do it from here. That doesn't get too wild. Maybe I can reach it. We shall see. Should be fine with me switching these around because they used to be that way and it was this back one here that I had screwed up. I was just checking that out real quick. The little grip part only is on this side, so no big deal. And if I ever need another one, I'm sure I can get it. They've been really good about parts, helping me out with that stuff, BMS motor parts. This one requires some guerrilla maneuvers. Classic reach around, Erica would say. There we go. And before I forget, let's see what size nut that is. All right, so that is a 12. For those of you playing the home game with me. But I had a fellow put a comment online while I'm doing this, and there's not much to look at. Asking longevity and how they're holding up and stuff like that, how parts are. I answered them on the forum there, or the chat, but one thing I did want to add is that I'm real happy with these, how they've held up, and I'm not real worried about this bearing. It's a common bearing, and it's an extremely hostile environment that it met its demise in. Also, to add to that, was just Saturday, I had my red one out for a extended ride. And I think it was about 80 miles that I put on it, something like that. And it took me there and back again, no problems, no complaints. I need to get a little bit longer extension. But yeah, it was far enough that I used all the gas in the tank and had to refill it on the trail. I always carry an extra 2.5 gallons for just such an event. And frankly, it was the first time I'd ever run out of gas in the thing. Like, driven it out of gas. So that was cool to get to see how far the tank would go. The only thing is, the trail I was on, this section of it does have a very steep hill. There it is. And
a very steep hill is very hard on these. So they do have their limits. They are only 20 horsepower. I wouldn't recommend doing that for everybody, or really even probably doing that particular hill with a passenger. Like, I probably wouldn't take my children with me up that hill. That sort of thing. But beyond that, just about anywhere else, they seem just fine. And one of the issues with the hill is the terrain is so rough. It's like somebody just broke the rock and left it strewn on the side of the hill and called it a trail. It's just extremely bad. Big chunks you gotta dodge or go over. Am I even on the thing? There we go. There we go. So one other tip is with these, you can kind of keep them squished together. Otherwise the seat latch, the adjuster doesn't grab so well. So there, those washers seem to give me plenty of grip. One other thing is I didn't put any of the blue stuff on. I know, shame on me. But these are actually the self-locking nuts, the flared or flange nuts that have the grips built into the flange. There it is. Almost got her. Where'd it go? Oh, but this one's so tough. It's kicking my butt. Are we there yet? Ask and you shall. Something, something. Nice and snug. Nice and snug. Nice and snug. All right, that'll do. All right, so next up we're gonna go ahead and slip in the passenger seat. And half of it does literally that, it just slips in. There's these 2 steel yokes right here that hold on to the rear. And then you can see the front goes through these 2 blue spots. So, set that in gingerly, and then just rock it forward, and the bolts will drop in. All right, so I'm not gonna bore you, it's the same thing as the seat rails. So, just 2 nuts to buzz up in there, 12 millimeters. And there are a couple of recesses under there that you can use to get your extension up through there. So let me take care of that, I'll be right back. All right, we got the passenger in. Now the driver should, heavy emphasis on should, slip right in. But the issue I've run into in the past is sometimes it's too narrow, sometimes it's too wide for these to slip in. So let's see how I did. I think I made them too narrow. Which narrow is good. It needs to be narrow, otherwise it doesn't want to grab the thing. So, I found my wrench. But you get the idea. We just kind of have to loosen it and spread it a little bit. Tighten her back up. Lather, rinse, repeat until it wants to come together. So. Right there. Might even be enough. Shoot, I rounded that a little bit. Again. Oh, wow. There. Perfect. That's got it. Bingo. All right. Good deal. So, up next is the sides, which I kind of like it without the doors, personally. That's me. I don't know if the cops would like it that way, though. All right. So the driver door and passenger door both are held on with 3 bolts only. One here in the center. It reuses this along with the rear view mirror is mounted there. So it goes through the mirror, door, and then through the frame. And then back here, there's one more. So what I'm doing is just pulling these out. I had already taken out the big one up front, but this rear one I found seemed to help a lot with some fiber washers between it and the frame. I had a little bit of vibration there. That and it needed that little bit of flex. Push it forward, if you will. So, for anybody out there that's good with fabricating, this thing is heavy. I would recommend switching it to aluminum. Aluminum. But yeah, it would be a big weight reduction. Start here. The driver mirror. And then it's a 10 millimeter head on the bolt with a 13 millimeter nut. So there's that one. I'm sure I completely blocked everything and you couldn't see any of it. This we'll put in quick, and that should give me the leverage to be able to open the door, which that was one other thing I thought was cool about these, is they have suicide doors. Get in there. There. So, pops at the front, swings open. I don't know if you guys can see there or not, but go ahead and put in this third bolt. And actually this one, I believe I'm gonna put on some of my secret sauce, my favorite blue goo. Huge fan. That's an 8 millimeter. Where's my 10? You guys see it anywhere? There it is. Good job. I feel like Hancock telling you guys that. Good job. Good job. Okay, go ahead and shut it. Nope. I want to put a little bit of the good stuff on this one and put it on the threads directly. That way I'm not passing the bolt and through it and these washers, making a mess everywhere. At least no more so than usual. Come on. This thing's wearing out, I think. Back to it again. Come on. Give it up. There we go. Sorry, I gotta hold it quick. It wants to walk out on me while I'm tightening it. There. All right, so no need for the goo up front here. This is a nylock up here. Whoa, come back.
Door operates. Always a bonus. So the bottom and the side, bottom and the back are both the same. It's the front here that's a little unique. One other thing I forgot to point out was these little bosses or lands or shoulders or something. But you can see here, they're curved to match the pipe, and it gives you a flat side opposite. So I thought that was nice. Keep you from getting too crazy with the gorilla strength. All right, so let's set this up. Get a thread or two in on that one. Put this on the right way. There's that. That. There. I'm sure you can't see a thing. Okay. Good. Where's my blue stuff? Well, you haven't fallen over yet. That's good. Guess you guys haven't had as many beers as I thought. That. There's my wrench. You guys see it? Because I don't. The green one, green socket on the extension. There it is. Whoa! Knocking all kinds of stuff everywhere. And hopefully not breaking my microphone here. That would be sad. Grown now, they're fond of it. Certainly makes things easier. There we go. There's that. Let's take care of the front. It's good. A little bit of my favorite secret sauce down here. And that, folks, is that. Okay, everybody. Well, that's it for this particular video. We've got the Blue Beast back together, and it's ready for testing. I might make a little quick video with that. I'm not sure. But up next is going to be this guy. It's going to get a winch, very similar to this one you see hanging off the blue one. But before I do that, I got to get the Honda Tour part, get the gearbox figured out, see what happened there. But in any case, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, throw a like in there, ring the bell, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I've got plenty more projects coming up. But in any case, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for watching.